Hello everyone. Well, time to continue on with The Mummy. An ancient Egyptian priest called Imhotep is revived from an archaeological expedition in 1921. Officer Joseph Wemple finds Imhotep's mummy. Imhotep had been mummified alive for attempting to resurrect his forbidden lover, Anck-su-namun. Wemple's friend Dr. Muller inspects the mummy and exclaims the viscera were not removed. The usual scar made the embalmer's knife is not there. Sir Joseph Wimple responds, I guessed as much. Muller then deduces that Imhotep was buried alive for sacrilege. Despite Muller's warning, Sir Joseph's assistant Ralph Norden reads aloud an ancient life-giving scroll, the Scroll of Thoth. Imhotep escapes the archaeologists, taking the Scroll of Thoth, and prowls Cairo seeking the modern incarnation of Anck-su-namun. 10 years later, Imhotep is masquerading as a modern Egyptian named Ardith Bey. He calls upon Sir Joseph's son Frank and Professor Pearson. He shows them where to dig to find Anck-su-namun's tomb. The archaeologists find the tomb, give the mummy and the treasures to the Cairo Museum, and thank Ardith Bey for the information. Imhotep encounters Helen Persephone, a woman bearing a striking resemblance to the princess. Believing her to be Anck-su-namun's reincarnation, he attempts to kill her, with the intention of mummifying her, resurrecting her, and making her his bride. That sounds very familiar. She is saved when she remembers her past life and prays to the goddess Isis to save her. The statue of Isis raises its arm and emits a beam of light that sets the Scroll of Thoth on fire. This breaks the spell that had given Imhotep his immortality, causing him to age rapidly and then crumble to dust. At the urging of Dr. Muller, Frank calls Helen back to the world of the living while the Scroll of Thoth continues to burn. Yeesh, that's a lot of heavy stuff, huh? Anyway, let's look at the production elements of the story. Movie. I keep saying movie. Keep saying story instead of movie. Anyway. Inspired by the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 and The Curse of the Pharaohs, producer Carl Laemmle Jr. commissioned story editor Richard Scaer to find a literary novel to form a basis for an Egyptian-themed horror film, just as the novels Dracula Frankenstein informed their 1931 film Dracula Frankenstein. Scaer found none, although the plot bears a strong resemblance to a short story by Arthur Conan Doyle entitled The Ring of Thoth. Scaer writer Nina Wilcox Putnam learned about Alessandro Cagliostro and wrote a 9-page treatment entitled Cagliostro. The story is in San Francisco, was about a 3,000-year-old magician who survives by injecting nitrates instead of via a supernatural cause, like with Imhotep's case. Laemmle was pleased with these ideas, and hired John L. Balderston to write the script. Balderston had contributed to Dracula and Frankenstein, and had covered the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb for New York World when he was a journalist, so he was more than familiar with the highly popular tomb unearthing. Balderston moved the story to Egypt and renamed the film and its title character Imhotep after the historical architect. He also changed the story from one of revenge upon all the women who resemble the main character's ex-lover to one where the main character is determined to revive his old love by killing and mummifying her reincarnated self before resurrecting her with the spell of the Scroll of Thoth. Balderston invented the Scroll of Thoth, which gave an aura of authenticity to the story. Thoth was the wisest of the Egyptian gods, who, when Osiris died, helped Isis bring her love back from the dead. Thoth is believed to have authored the Book of the Dead, which is no doubt the inspiration for Balderston's Scroll of Thoth. Carl Freund, the cinematographer in Dracula, was hired to direct, making this his first film in the United States as a director. The film was retitled The Mummy. He cast Zita Johann, who believed in reincarnation, and he also named her character Anck-su-namun, after the only wife of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. The real Anck-su-namun's body had not been discovered in the tomb of King Tut, and her resting place was unknown. Her name, however, would not have been unknown to the general public, and no doubt drew people's attention to the post-Tutankhamun era. The film was scheduled for 3 weeks. Carl's first day was spent shooting the mummy's awakening from his sarcophagus. Makeup artist Jack Pierce has studied photos of Seti I mummy to design Imhotep. However, Karloff looked nothing like the mummy of Seti I in the film, instead bearing a resemblance to the mummy of Ramesses III. Pierce began transforming Karloff at 11 a.m., applying cotton, collodion, and spirit gum to his face, clay to his hair, and wrapping him in linen bandages treated with acid and burnt in an oven, finishing the job at 7 p.m. Carl finished his scenes at 2 a.m., and another 2 hours were spent removing the makeup. Carla found the removal of gum from his face painful, and overall found the day the most trying ordeal I had ever endured. Though the images of Karloff wrapped in bandages are the most iconic taken from the film, Karloff only appears on screen in this makeup for a few minutes. The rest of the film sees him wearing less elaborate makeup. A lengthy and detailed flashback sequence was longer than as it presently exists. The sequence showed the various forms Anck-su-namun was reincarnated over the centuries. Henry Victor is credited in the film as Saxon Warrior, despite his performance having been deleted. Stills exist of the sequences, but the footage, save for Karloff's appearance and sacrilegious events leading up to his mummification in ancient Egypt, has been lost. It was shot in Cantil, California, Universal City, and the Mojave Desert. The piece of classical music heard during the opening credits, taken from Tchaikovsky ballet Swan Lake, was previously also used for the opening credits of Dracula. Wow. Anyway, let's get some other aspects of this movie. Like other movies that take place in modern Egypt, there has been a decrying of the othering of Eastern culture. According to Mark A. Hall of the Perth Museum and Art Gallery, film portrayals of Egypt, especially in Egyptian archaeology, often deal with themes of appropriating and controlling the dangers of non-European cultures, or otherwise deal with the past if it relates to legend and superstition. Mummies, Hall says, are a common example of this. While he commends the archaeological wisdom espoused by Sir Joseph Wimpole in this film, much more is learned from studying bits of broken pottery than from all the essential finds. Our job is to increase the sum of human knowledge of the past. He highlights that this is only used as a foil for the supernatural elements. The importance of archaeology is to understand the past versus finding the latest artifact and forget about its history. Hall says, what these mummy films retain is a depiction of archaeology as a colonial imposition by which cultural inheritance is appropriated. The scroll of Thoth is a fictional artifact, likely based on the Book of the Dead. Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge, is said to be the inventor of hieroglyphs and the author of the Book of the Dead. Conspirators were caught in a plot to assassinate Pharaoh Ramses III around 1151 BCE. Papyrus trial transcripts reveal the method of execution, which may have been being buried alive. Although not common practice, it is possible that such a fictional priest such as Imhotep would be punished this way. There's no evidence to suggest that ancient Egyptians believed in or considered the possibility of reanimated mummies. Mummification was a sacred process meant to prepare a dead body to carry the soul through the afterlife, not for being reincarnated and living again on Earth. While it is possible that some individuals were mummified by being buried alive, it is unlikely that ancient Egyptians would think resurrection was possible because they were very aware of the fact that all the necessary organs had been removed from the body and the body would be able to use on Earth anymore. Yeesh. Well, that's some pretty interesting stuff there, huh? Anyway, a pretty interesting movie overall. I give The Mummy 5 jack-o'-lanterns out of 5. Well, join me tomorrow as we take a look at The Mummy's Hand. So, until then, have a nice day, or evening, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world.